Imagine your physical eyes are like a camera that only shoots in black and white. You see shapes and contours, but you lose all the richness of color, nuance, and depth. Now, what if I told you that you were born with the ability to see in 4K color, but someone changed your camera settings to the most basic mode and never told you? Today, we'll talk about this original configuration, a form of perception so advanced that it was classified as forbidden, not because it was evil, but because it was too liberating. It's a technique attributed to Thoth, the architect of ancient wisdom, and it doesn't activate something new. It restores what is rightfully yours, the ability to see reality as it truly is. Stay with me, because the first step to this restoration is shockingly simple and involves something you consume every day. I'll show you how to reverse this blockage, and by the end, you'll have the complete map to recalibrate your vision. If you've ever felt like there's more than meets the eye, comment, "Reset my settings." What lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared with what lies within us. This knowledge did not emerge by chance. It was meticulously preserved and transmitted by one of the most enigmatic and influential figures in human history, Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom. Imagine an intelligence so vast that it was considered the mind of the gods themselves, the divine scribe who recorded fate and held the keys to the mysteries of the universe. Thoth was not just a myth to scare children. He represents a lineage of profound wisdom, a consciousness that understood the fundamental laws of creation and perception. His figure transcended Egyptian culture. When Egyptian knowledge met Greek philosophy, Thoth was recognized in Hermes, the messenger of the gods. From this fusion arose the legend of Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, a master who was the greatest king, the greatest priest, and the greatest philosopher. He was not a man, but a symbol of wisdom itself incarnate, a beacon for humanity lost in the darkness of ignorance. He is credited with authoring the Emerald Tablet, a short and enigmatic text containing the formula for universal alchemy. But Hermes' alchemy wasn't about turning lead into physical gold. It was about the transmutation of consciousness. It was about taking the human mind, dense and heavy with fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs, and transforming it into pure gold, into awakened consciousness. Thoth taught writing not as a tool of communication, but as a code to decipher the matrix of reality. Legend has it that he wrote over 36,000 books, an entire library of cosmic knowledge that conveniently disappeared from history. Why would he be the guardian of this activation technique? Because Thoth understood that the true prison is not physical, but mental. He knew that the universe doesn't happen for you, but through you. He understood that the key to freedom lay not in stone temples, but in the sacred geography that exists within the skull of every human being. He knew that true awakening is not something learned, but something remembered when the right conditions are created. And here's the most shocking part. Modern science, with all its advanced technology, is only beginning to scratch the surface of what Thoth and the ancient masters have known for millennia. They are discovering that certain structures in the brain not only have biological functions, but also appear to be designed for transcendental experiences, for the perception of realities beyond the five senses. Thoth's wisdom points not to the stars, but to the very center of your head. The key to this expanded vision, the secret Thoth so jealously guarded, does not lie in a dusty papyrus in a forgotten tomb. It resides in a tiny, nearly forgotten part of your own anatomy, a real biological structure with such immense potential that it has been revered by cultures around the world as the physical portal to the divine. And that is where we are headed now. The hidden eye inside your brain. Thoth's wisdom takes us directly to a physical point, a real organ within your body. We are no longer in the realm of mythology, but of sacred biology. In the precise geometric center of your brain, perfectly protected, lies a small pine cone-shaped gland, the pineal gland. Philosophers like Descartes called it the seat of the soul, and ancient cultures revered it as our inner eye. This is not an abstract concept. It is a piece of biological hardware designed for a function that has been almost completely forgotten by our modern society. In the East, the Hindu tradition mapped the body's energy centers, the chakras, and right in the center of the forehead, slightly above the space between the eyebrows, they located the Ajna chakra. Translated as command center, this is the point from which individual consciousness connects with universal consciousness. It is the eye that sees beyond duality, that perceives the unity behind all things. It is no coincidence that its energetic location directly corresponds to the position of the pineal gland in the brain. The Egyptians, masters of symbolism, encoded this knowledge in the famous Eye of Horus. For centuries, it was thought to be merely a protective amulet, but when superimposed on a cross-section of the human brain, the image fits with frightening precision. Each part of the Eye of Horus corresponds to a specific brain structure, such as the thalamus, the corpus callosum, and, at the exact center, the pineal gland. It was no adornment. It was a map, an instruction manual for accessing the inner realms. And here, modern science steps in to make everything even more incredible. Researchers like Dr. Rick Strassman, in his studies at the University of New Mexico, have hypothesized that the pineal gland is capable of synthesizing and secreting DMT, dimethyltryptamine. DMT is one of the most powerful visionary substances known, found in sacred plants used in shamanic rituals for millennia and nicknamed the spirit molecule. Your pineal gland may be an endogenous factory for this substance. This small gland, the size of a grain of rice, acts like an antenna. It's sensitive to light and regulates our sleep-wake cycles, but its potential goes much further. It's the biochemical bridge between our three-dimensional world and other dimensions of reality. It's the portal through which consciousness can travel beyond the limits of the physical body. It's the biological hardware that enables mystical experience, remote viewing, and profound intuition. It's literally your gateway to the stars. But if we all have this gland, why aren't we all experiencing this expanded reality? Because there's a problem, a big problem. In the vast majority of people, this portal is blocked, dormant, calcified. It has been systematically shut down by environmental factors and a lifestyle that disconnects us from our own nature. Before we can even think about activating this eye, we must first break the chains that keep it imprisoned. If the pineal gland is your portal to other realities, then modern society has done an excellent job of cementing that door. Your pineal gland, your physical third eye, is under constant and silent attack. The fluoride added to drinking water in many cities has a particular affinity for the pineal gland, accumulating there and forming calcium phosphate crystals. This creates a hard shell around the gland, a process called calcification, which literally petrifies it and blocks its most subtle functions. But fluoride is just the beginning of the story. Pesticides in our food, mercury in deep-sea fish, excess calcium in processed foods, refined sugar, alcohol, and chronic stress all contribute to this hardening process. It's like trying to tune a radio with the antenna covered in mud. The signal simply won't get through. Awakening inner vision without first cleansing this portal is an impossible task. Decalcification is not an option, it is the first practical and non-negotiable step on this journey. So how do we begin to break this calcium prison? Nature provides us with the tools. Foods and supplements that help detoxify the body of heavy metals are crucial. Chlorella and spirulina, two powerful algae, are known for their ability to bind to toxins and remove them from the body. Iodine, found in algae like kelp, is essential for thyroid health and helps displace accumulated fluoride. Raw apple cider vinegar and lemon juice, despite being acidic, have an alkalizing effect on the body, creating an environment where calcification is more difficult to maintain. Cleansing, however, cannot be just physical. You need to fast from toxic information. Drastically reduce your exposure to news that only spreads fear, social media that generates comparison and anxiety, and the incessant noise of empty entertainment. Your mind and energy field are also being polluted. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the absence of interference. It is in silence that your pineal gland can begin to regenerate and your subtle perception can finally begin to breathe. Think of it like preparing a field for planting. You can't simply throw seeds into rocky, weedy soil and expect a forest to grow. You must first remove the rocks, pull the weeds, and nourish the earth. Decalcification, Isian, and detoxification are this process of preparing your inner temple. It's an act of self-love and reclaiming your sacred space. It's you saying to the system, I will no longer allow you to block my access to truth. As the portal is carefully cleansed, both physically and energetically, something begins to shift. You may experience a mental clarity you haven't felt in years. Your dreams may become more lucid. A new sensitivity begins to emerge. The ground is becoming fertile. Now and only now can we learn to tune into this cosmic radio. And to do so, we must begin to understand the secret language in which the universe communicates. Tuning into the frequency of reality. Now that the portal is being cleared, we need to learn how to operate it. And the first thing to understand is that reality is not what it seems. Quantum physics has already shown us that, at the most fundamental level, everything is energy. The chair you're in, your body, your thoughts. Everything is a vibrational field pulsating at different frequencies. Your physical eyes are like a flashlight that only illuminates a tiny band of an infinite spectrum of light. Activating the third eye means learning to perceive the other frequencies that have always been there. This attunement doesn't begin with a mental effort, but with an inner decision, intention. You must genuinely want to see beyond the surface. You must be willing to question the belief that the material world is the only reality. This focused intention acts as a command, directing your energy and consciousness toward awakening this dormant faculty. It's your yes to the universe, an invitation for it to reveal itself to you in a deeper, truer way. One of the most direct ways to begin to feel and influence these frequencies is through sound. Sound isn't just something we hear, it's a vibration that affects every cell in our body. Specific frequencies, such as those found in Gregorian chants, Sanskrit mantras, or binaural beats, can induce altered states of consciousness and directly stimulate the pineal gland. Listening to these frequencies regularly is like tuning a musical instrument, adjusting your own vibration to resonate with higher frequencies of perception. Start practicing energy perception in your daily life. When you enter a room before analyzing objects and people, stop for a second and just feel. Does the place feel light or heavy? Expansive or constricted? When talking to someone, pay attention not only to the words, but to the energy behind them. Is the person conveying congruence, or is there a dissonance between what they say and how they feel? This isn't judgment, it's your intuitive radar starting to work. It's your third eye whispering the first words. You're beginning to read the language of energy, the primary language of the universe. This transforms your relationship with the world. You stop being a passive observer of a seemingly random reality and begin to perceive the patterns, connections, and invisible currents that weave the events of your life. You understand that nothing is by chance. Every encounter, every challenge, every synchronicity is a piece of a larger puzzle, a coded message waiting to be deciphered. Now that you're clearing your biological portal and learning to attune your perception to the subtler frequencies of reality, your body and mind are almost ready for the most important step. But before lighting such a powerful flame, we need to ensure that the temple that will house it is strong and stable. An ungrounded vision can be disorienting. Therefore, the next step is the final preparation of your being. Igniting the flame of inner vision is like turning on an energy reactor. Before you flip the switch, you need to be sure the surrounding structure is solid, safe, and capable of containing this power. Living with expanded perception requires a body and mind deeply anchored in physical reality. The first and most crucial pillar of this preparation is grounding. Spiritual vision without roots in the earth can become a form of escapism, an escape from life rather than a tool for living it more fully. Practice grounding consciously and daily. Walk barefoot on grass, sand, or earth. Feel the texture of the ground beneath your feet. The exchange of energy between your body and the planet. The Earth has an electromagnetic charge that helps balance our own energy field, dissipating excess mental energy and bringing us back to the present moment. This simple yet profound practice ensures that as your consciousness expands upward, your roots deepen downward, keeping you grounded, stable, and secure. The second pillar is the cultivation of inner silence. Meditation isn't about forcing the mind to stop thinking, which is impossible. It's about changing your relationship with thoughts. It's about sitting on the bank of the river of your mind and watching the current flow by without jumping in. Start with just 5 minutes a day. Close your eyes and focus on the sensation of your breath coming in and out. When a thought arises, simply observe it and gently return your attention to your breath. It is in this space of silent observation that the subtle voice of intuition becomes a clear cry. The third pillar is the purity of the temple. Your body is not a burden to be transcended. It is the sacred vehicle through which consciousness experiences this dimension. Honor it. Drink pure and abundant water, as water is a conductor of energy and information. Eat living foods full of life force, such as fresh fruits and vegetables. Avoid or drastically reduce the consumption of substances that dull consciousness and cloud perception, such as alcohol and ultra-processed foods. Every cell in your body is an antenna, and by purifying them, you are tuning the instrument to receive clearer signals. This preparation is not a task, it is an act of reverence. It is you recognizing that your body, mind, and spirit are interconnected. One cannot awaken without the support of others. By strengthening your grounding, cultivating silence, and purifying your body, you are creating the perfect vessel for the light of inner vision. You are building a lighthouse strong enough to withstand the storm and guide ships safely to shore. The structure is solid, the wiring is clean, the energy is stabilized. With the temple cleansed, the frequency tuned, and the foundations firmly anchored in the earth, the moment we've been waiting for has finally arrived. The preparation is complete, the altar is ready, there is nothing left to do but perform the sacred act of activation. We are ready to receive the key that Thoth has guarded for so long, the technique that ignites the inner fire and opens the eye that sees the unseen. Thoth's forbidden technique for seeing the unseen. Now we come to the heart of our journey. The Thoth technique is not a complicated ritual requiring rare objects or exotic locations. Its power lies in its simplicity and the purity of its intention. It is an act of inner alchemy, performed in the silence of your own being. Follow these 5 steps with total focus, like an archer aiming for the center of the target. This is the moment to light the flame. First, create a field of silence. Find a place where you won't be interrupted. Sit in a comfortable position with your spine straight but relaxed. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, and with each exhalation, feel the tensions of the day melt away, like sugar in water. Don't fight your thoughts, simply become the silent observer, the sky watching the clouds pass by without identifying with any of them. You are creating the sacred space for the work that will follow. Second, vibrational focus. Very gently bring your awareness to the point in the center of your forehead, slightly above the space between your eyebrows. Don't force it, don't visualize anything yet, and don't create tension. It's a subtle touch of your attention, like a butterfly's wing landing on a flower. Simply rest your attention there. You may begin to feel a slight pulsation, warmth, or gentle pressure. This is your energy building at that point, responding to your focus. Third, the violet flame. Now, imagine a small sphere of light, the size of a seed, gently pulsating in this center. Give it the color violet, the color of transmutation, spirituality, and the highest frequencies of the visible spectrum. Don't worry if you don't see the light with photographic clarity. Just feel its presence. Intend that it is there. This is not a light that shines outward, but a beacon that turns inward to illuminate the landscapes of your own soul. Fourth, square breathing. The key to activation. This specific breathing rhythm balances the cerebral hemispheres and the flow of prana, vital energy, inducing states of heightened perception. The cycle is simple. Inhale slowly, counting to 4. Hold the air in your lungs for a count of 4. Exhale gently through your mouth or nose for a count of 4, and remain in the void without air for a count of 4. Each phase is a portal. The inhalation nourishes the flame, the pause focuses it. The exhalation purifies the field, and the void expands it to infinity. Fifth, the dance of the galaxy. As you maintain the steady rhythm of square breathing, visualize that each complete cycle is fueling the violet flame in your forehead. With each breath, the light becomes a little brighter, a little more intense. Then imagine this sphere of light beginning to slowly rotate clockwise. With each rotation, it dissolves a layer of veil, a limiting belief, an old fear. Continue this process for as long as feels comfortable. At some point, the sensation will shift. You'll realize you're no longer imagining. You're feeling. You're remembering how to see. But understand this: activation is not the end of the journey, it's the beginning. Lighting the flame is one thing. Learning to navigate the world it illuminates is quite another. What happens next, the signs that emerge and the challenges that present themselves, is the true test of your wisdom and discernment. Once the technique is practiced with intention and consistency, the world is never perceived the same way again. A subtle but profound shift begins to occur. One of the first and most unmistakable signs is the development of a hyper-awareness of truth. You begin to feel the energy behind words. You'll be in a conversation and know, without a doubt, when someone is being authentic and when they're operating from a mask. Your body becomes a living lie detector, not to judge, but to discern. Synchronicities, which once seemed like mere coincidences, intensify and become the universe's primary form of communication with you. You think of someone, and they call you. You have a question, and the answer appears on the cover of a book or in a conversation you overhear. Seeing repeating number sequences like 1111 or 444 becomes common. It's not magic. It's your consciousness beginning to perceive the patterns and symbolic language of the reality matrix. Your dreams also become more vivid, lucid, and full of clear messages. However, this new world of perception comes with its own dangers, traps that can mislead even the most sincere seeker. The first and most seductive is the spiritual ego. When vision opens, the mind may try to appropriate this new ability. It begins to weave a story that you are special, more evolved, or enlightened. This is the fastest path to downfall. True vision leads to humility, not arrogance. It makes you realize how little you know, not how much more you know than others. The second major pitfall is over-opening without proper grounding. If the portal opens too quickly, without the grounding practices we've prepared, the experience can be overwhelming. This can manifest as anxiety, insomnia, extreme sensitivity to the energies of places and people, or an uncomfortable feeling of not belonging in this world. Spiritual vision needs strong roots in the earth to avoid becoming psychosis. The goal is not to escape the world, but to experience it with greater clarity and presence. Recognizing the first signs of awakening is exciting, but being aware of these pitfalls is absolutely crucial for a safe and sustainable journey. Vision is not a superpower to impress others or feed your ego. It is a sacred tool for self-understanding, healing, and navigating your life with greater wisdom, grace, and alignment with your deepest purpose. Discernment becomes your greatest compass. Understanding these signs and dangers prepares us for the next step, which is perhaps the most important of all. Having sporadic visions or insights isn't enough. True mastery lies in integrating this new awareness into every moment of your daily life, transforming perception into lived wisdom and balancing heaven and earth within you. Living with eyes open. Activation was just the beginning. Now true mastery begins. Living with awakened vision is not a passive state, but an active practice of integration. The key is not the intensity of a single experience, but the consistency of a daily practice. Dedicating just 5 minutes at dawn to square breathing and visualizing the violet flame is like tuning an instrument every morning, ensuring it plays the melody of clarity throughout the day. To translate the subtle language of your intuition, begin recording what you perceive. Keep a vision journal, not to prove anything, but to recognize patterns. Jot down recurring symbols in your dreams, words that leap from a page, inexplicable sensations that prove true. This act of writing anchors ethereal energy into the physical plane, transforming whispers of the soul into a clear map you can read and follow. With vision comes the responsibility of integrity. Seeing the truth and choosing to ignore it creates an energetic dissonance that acts like static, clouding the channel you just cleared. If your intuition reveals that a habit is draining your vitality, vision demands the discipline to change it. The third eye is your internal compass. It points the way, but the courage to walk it is still yours, and each aligned step strengthens the signal. Expanded vision also requires a new level of energetic discernment. You will become more sensitive to the frequencies of environments and a people. Learn to recognize what nourishes your light and what drains it. This isn't about judging or isolating yourself, but about managing your energy with the same wisdom you would manage your finances. Consciously choosing your interactions is an act of self-preservation and energetic sovereignty. Use your newfound awareness to develop radical compassion. The purpose of seeing beyond the surface is not to find flaws, but to see shared humanity. When you can sense the fear behind someone's arrogance or the sadness behind a forced smile, judgment dissolves. Your presence becomes healing as you offer others the gift of being truly seen, often for the first time in their lives. Anchor this heightened awareness into your physical body every day. Ungrounded spiritual vision can lead to disconnection and anxiety. Practice grounding by walking barefoot on the earth, feeling the solidity of the ground. Move your body with intention, whether through dance, yoga, or a simple walk in nature. Remember, the higher a tree's branch reaches the sky, the deeper its roots need to be in the earth. Learn to navigate the paradox of being both the observer and the participant. You can observe your emotions and thoughts without identifying with them, like someone watching a movie. At the same time, you are fully engaged in life, making decisions and acting with presence. This ability to maintain an inner distance while actively participating in the external world is a sign of true mastery and balance. Your diet becomes a tool for clarity. Notice how different foods affect your vibration and perception. Living foods full of solar energy, such as fresh fruits and vegetables, tend to raise your frequency, while heavy processed foods can cloud your inner vision. Eating becomes a conscious act of choosing the frequencies with which you wish to build your physical temple. The practice of silence becomes essential. Not just silence from external noise, but silence from the incessant flow of information. Periodically disconnect from the digital bombardment. It is in these pockets of stillness that you can hear the deepest messages of your higher self and differentiate the voice of your intuition from the noise of your conditioned mind. Silence is the fertile soil where wisdom flourishes. Finally, understand that this journey of integration transforms vision from something you use to something you are. You no longer need to strain to see. Clear perception becomes your natural state of being. You become a walking beacon whose mere presence illuminates spaces and inspires others to find their own light. And this realization leads us to the final portal, the return to the home that has always existed within you. At the end of this journey, you discover the simplest and most profound truth of all. Activating your third eye was never about acquiring new power. It was always about removing the layers of dust, fear, and conditioning that covered the light that already existed within you. It wasn't a journey outward to some distant mystical place, but a journey back home, to the center of your own being. Now that you've seen, there's no unseeing. Ignorance is no longer an option, and that is the greatest blessing of all. Awakening doesn't happen in a single cataclysmic moment of enlightenment, but unfolds in every conscious choice you make from now on. It happens when you choose presence over the distraction of your phone. It happens when you choose compassion over the knee-jerk reaction of anger. It happens when you choose to trust your intuition instead of giving in to the mind's doubt. The third eye isn't a tool to escape the world. It's a portal to inhabit it with a depth and richness you never imagined possible. You begin to see sacred geometry in everything. You realize that even chaos has a hidden pattern, and that pain always brings a precious lesson. The universe ceases to be a random and hostile place and reveals itself as an intelligent and loving dance partner, conspiring on your behalf. You understand that you are not seeing what is out there, but rather a reflection of your own inner state. The world becomes your mirror, and as you cleanse and polish your inner self, the reflected image becomes increasingly beautiful and harmonious. Do not fear what you see in the invisible realms, for nothing there can harm you. Everything that arises, whether light or shadow, is a part of you asking to be seen, integrated, and loved. In this unified vision, you discover that the separation between you and the universe, between you and the divine, has always been an illusion. There is only one consciousness, one eye, awakening to contemplate itself through its experiences. The third eye did not take you to a strange place, it brought you back to the home you never left. The journey doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning. The invitation now is for you to become a beacon. Not by preaching or trying to convince anyone, but simply by being your light. Your calm presence, your clarity, and your compassion will become a silent inspiration to others still searching for their way in the dark. You become living proof that awakening is possible. Live with clarity, act with integrity, love with courage. May your inner vision be not just a window to other worlds, but a bridge that brings the sacred into this world, transforming your every step into a prayer and your every breath into an act of gratitude. You are home. Welcome back. If you've made it this far, it's because your intuition has guided you. You're no longer satisfied with black and white vision. Your soul yearns for the colors of truth. This is no coincidence. To let me know you're among those awakening, leave the phrase "my eyes are opening" in the comments. Each comment with this phrase creates a wave of energy that strengthens us all. If you feel called to help this channel grow and spread more content like this, breaking the chains of misinformation, there's a more direct way to contribute. In the first pinned comment, you'll find a link to support our work. Any help you can give is immensely important to me and to the continuation of this mission. Your contribution allows us to reach more minds and hearts ready to awaken. But understand, the simple fact that you watched until the end is already a huge help. Your presence and energy are what bring this space to life. If you can't contribute financially, you can still help immensely by sharing this video with someone you feel needs to hear this message. And before you leave, your journey doesn't have to stop here. I've put together a special video for you, a piece that delves into the next crucial step after activation. Don't leave yet. Click on the video that's currently appearing on your screen and we'll meet there.